As the government scales up efforts to support families affected by the ongoing drought, the residents of Kajiado Central, one of the affected areas, have called on the government to boost the distribution of relief foods. Our very own Grace Wangoi visited the area to assess the drought situation and filed for us the following report.
Drought has become an all too familiar word in the country, seeing that it is affecting over 4 million Kenyans, spread in some 23 arid and semi-arid lands, and just recently spreading into other counties that were not previously affected by drought, an indication that things are quite dire. A spot check in Kajiado, one of the counties affected by the biting drought, reveals just how bad the situation is. Every so often, a good number of trucks carrying animal feed, which has now become a rare and difficult commodity to come by, can be seen selling to the residents to alleviate the suffering of their animals. However, being a rare commodity, the prices are too high for some to afford, like the case of Linda Osoi, who says that she is forced to pick animal feed dropping from the trucks since she cannot afford to buy the hay or maize stock, which are going for 300 shillings.
Sasa sisi wamama tunakuja hapa, unaona wamama wamejaa hapa kwa soko ya chakula ya ng'ombe, wanarokota maana wana pesa ya kununua, wanarokota tu hizi wanaweka kwa magunia ndio at least upate kitu ya kupatia ng'ombe. Unafanya kazi kidogo, saa zingine hao watu wanakusaidia, unafanya kazi kidogo unapata 300, 200, unachukua unga unapeleka nyumbani. Hii ni matakataka yote unarokota unapelekea ng'ombe. So sisi Kajiado tuko na shida sana na hatujaipata msaada yoyote kutoka kwa serikali. Hakuna msaada. Hakuna ya ng'ombe, hakuna chakula ya watoto. Kwa hivyo tuko na shida mingi sana.
The residents who are dependent on livestock say life has become difficult since the drought began. The residents say a good number of cattle has died since. They are, however, unable to sell the remaining cattle due to poor prices, with some cows retailing between 500 and 3,000 shillings and goats at 500 to 1,000 shillings. With cows dropping dead, meeting daily needs has become a challenge that translates to inability to provide food for their families and school fees for their children. It comes as no surprise that some families sleep hungry.
Tuna ng'ombe, kondoo imekufa. Kiangazi mpaka watoto wanalala njaa. Watoto sasa wako nyumbani, wasomi. Juu sisi tunategemeanga tu mfugo, hatuna kazi. Kazi yetu ni kuuza ng'ombe na kuuza mbuzi. Ng'ombe sasa ukiuza ni shilingi 500 na 1,000. Sasa watoto sasa wako nyumbani, wako na njaa, wako na wasomi.
Sasa ile shida tuko naye sana. Tuko na watoto kwa shule. Wazazi hana pesa kusomesha watoto kwa sababu hatuna ng'ombe. Kajiado hii tuko na type mingi sana ya watu. Wale watu wanalima mashamba kama Wakamba, kama Wakikuyu wanalima mashamba, lakini hatuna mvua na hatuna msaidizi yoyote. Kwa kaunti yetu hatuna msaidizi yoyote. Tukaweka kiongozi pale ni shida. Kama juzi tumepewa machakula, watu wanasema anapewa watu chakula, lakini unakuta mtu anaenda kuchukua unga moja. Unga moja itatosha mtu wiki moja, si unamwagia tu kwa nini inaisha usiku moja?
For Similar Gifted Hand School, the situation is no different, as the head teacher Jairus Anomo explains. According to him, some learners, especially the ones that are not boarding at the school, find it difficult to access food at home. He explains that some learners report to the school in the morning hungry and may still find no food at home during lunch.
So imagine a situation whereby there was no food at home the previous night. They come to school in the morning without having anything in their stomachs. Okay, you expect this child to be in class and attend the lessons and really get something from it. In an empty stomach, generally concentration will be low. Okay, yes. At lunchtime, you expect this learner to go home, have something. But from the way parents talk, they wake up, leave the children as they go looking for food. Possibility is that this child may go home for lunch and not meet the parents there. And as our school rules, they must also come back for the afternoon sessions, okay? This child, in as much as they may not say, but as a teacher, you just look at a child and say, there is a problem somewhere, okay? So that
The director of the school, Philip, explains that although they offer food, sometimes it may be too little.
Some children have even dropped from school because they cannot pay the little amount they pay for school fees. And also we are happy because those who are still coming to school, we can feed them, but with something very little, because sometimes they come from home without, they have slept hungry. So when they come to school, they get something small, like a half full of porridge. And at lunchtime, we give them maybe githeri, beans and maize. So the situation is not good at all.
As the head teacher explains, water levels in boreholes had become too low and they were forced to outsource water. The learners give a tale of their own of how their learning has been affected by the drought.
The drought has really affected most of the learners because the parents may lack school fees to pay, may lack money to pay school fees, and in that case most of the animals are dying, and that is the only resource which the parents are getting money to pay school fees for their parents, for their learners.
The drought has really caused something bad in this Maasai Island because they depend on livestock, and sometimes people even they don't get any concentration because they're just remembering their parents at their home. Some even can live with their grandmothers, and sometimes they don't have grandmothers at home, so they can't do many works like now in drought. So sometimes you can find a child in classes has low concentration. And so also,
the residents have now called on the government to focus on food relief so that they can feed their children and, if possible, food for their starving animals.
Naomba tu kuomba president wetu, hii maisha ya Kajiado imekuwa ngumu sana. Kwanza kwa bei, kwa mambo ya chakula, mambo ya ng'ombe, tumehangaika sana. Kwa hivyo mimi naomba tu asila mbolea isaidie, angalia mambo na unga, watu wanateseka. Tunateseka sana tukiwa watu wa Kajiado sana.
Kenya inataka sana saa hii, kama inawezekana watuletee chakula ya watoto na ya ng'ombe. Alafu kama kuna mpango ya watengeneze soko ya kuuza ng'ombe, ingekuwa afadhali. Maana sasa kama unauza ng'ombe yako ulinunua 1,050 unauza shilingi 500 ama zingine zinakufa, utafaidika na nini? Kwa hivyo tulikuwa na shida mingi. Kiangazi ikija tunarudi zero. Sasa hii unakuta mtu alikuwa na ng'ombe 3,000, sasa hii ako na 5. Si hiyo shida imerudi tena. Na ndio ilikuwa benki yetu. Kwa hiyo tunaomba serikali ituangalie sana. Iangalie soko ya ng'ombe. Kiangazi ikija tuwe tupate mahali ya kuuzia ng'ombe zetu kwa bei ambayo at least iko juu kidogo.
Additionally, they made a plea to the government to construct dams and dig boreholes that will help residents harvest water during rainy seasons.
Community, there is lack of water sources. Okay, if we can have boreholes around, okay, there is one up this side, but it's not really functional. Okay, if we can have dams and boreholes, just in case during floods, we can harness that water, okay, to be used during such hard times. Such things can really make life easier for these people.
Although the clouds are forming, there is little hope that it could rain. But in a quick turn of events, the rain begins to pour slowly and then became too much for us to continue with our story.
At a quick turn of events, it is finally raining in Ildamat region in Kajiado Central. After more than 2 years of lack of rainfall, the residents can only hope that this will not be a one-time event, but that it will continue to rain in the coming days. Reporting for OTV News 14 Ildamat.